How many of you are like me where you can't hand draw to save your life and you have an amazing idea for a set using a stamping plate? When you go to put them on, the images are either way too big for your nail or way too small and just don't look right. I run into this all the time. I'm not so fantastic when it comes to hand drawing. When I heard that these companies resizing stampers, I had to see what the deal is. So I picked up from 3 different companies to see how much you really got to pay to get good images. Stick around and you'll find out too. As some of you may know from previous videos, I love stamping, and I've picked up these sizing stampers to check out and compare. So we've got Moyra clear jelly stamper, and then AliExpress, this unbranded one. Gonna do some trial and error and see by using each of the different ones how well they do or don't stamp in the different sizes. So I've yet to open any of these up or test them out and see what they're like. Price-wise, the Moyra came in at $20 Canadian for me. The clear jelly stamper was $19 Canadian. And this unbranded one from AliExpress was under $5, came to $4 and change. So let's see what they're like. Oh, well, this is interesting right off the bat. So the Moyra looks like it is not clear to see through. Again, I've never used any of these, so I don't know how they work. And this is the clear jelly stamper. Comes with a awesome little scraper. And here theirs is. It's perfectly clear. So my first guess is that it's going to be easier to see through for your placement for your stamping. And interestingly enough, looking at this unbranded AliExpress, it looks like it could possibly be identical. Now, with that being said, I do have to note here that it is really nice to be able to support small businesses, which, you know, most of these are. They're not massive corporations. So it's really nice when you can support particular brands that you really like and such. I like to do that. At the same time, while it's true that usually these companies that have the discount items, they have, let's say, copied the hard work that these companies put into developing their products, I'm assuming anyway, and then they turn around and sell it for a fraction of the price. So that's a tough one, but at the same time, not everybody can afford to support and pay 3-4 times the price for an item when they can get it really cheap on the discount sites. So we will find out whether or not it's the same as good a quality or whether or not it works quite as well. What I'm going to do is take my 3 different sets of tips here, and I am going to put down a white base so that I have something to work over. Once that's done, I will come back and we'll start playing with some stampers and see what ends up coming of it. So before we get started on the testing, for those of you who may not be familiar with stamping or as familiar, here's a little bit of a layout of the different supplies that you might want to be having. You're going to need stamping polish. Sometimes you can find regular lacquer nail polishes that are really, really heavily pigmented and fast drying that may work, but they can be really frustrating. So getting a good stamping polish, clear jelly stamper is one of my favorites, but there's lots of them out there that work really, really well. I also prefer a lot of times to use a thick gel. This is a 1-stroke art gel that I use from Blue Amber, and I use this for doing my stamping a lot of the time. The main reason being is that this will clean off of my plates with simple alcohol. Whereas if I am using a stamping polish, which is more of a lacquer polish, the only way to really get your plates clean is to use acetone. And while acetone is not typically a big deal, if you have severe allergies to nail products like I do, when you're using acetone, even the smallest amount, if you get it onto your glove, is going to eat through the glove protection layer, and it is going to make you susceptible to getting product onto your skin. So it may seem like the most insignificant amount, but I tell you, 99.9% of the time when I have a reaction act up, it's because I have been stamping with regular polish and I get little splashes of acetone on me. So what I've done to try and attempt to alleviate this, which has worked really quite well, is I switched from a pump style for my acetone. Like, this is how my alcohol is. So for my acetone, I switched it out of a pump and I went to this, I don't know what you call this type of style of bottle, but it's really simple. I don't have to get close to it. I just give it a little squeeze and it fills my cotton. I cannot touch it. So then I have it on my little, what do you want to call these? Little grabbers. And I can then wipe my plate as such without having any of it come in contact with me. But you know how it is. It can easily get around and get messy. That being said, I have picked up some Moyra, different stamping polishes. I've got a black, a white, and a foil. I think these are stamping gel polishes. So I'll be trying those out. Next is you're going to want something to clean your stamper. I picked these up at a local dollars type store and they're phenomenal. I absolutely love them for stamping. They're super cheap and you just, away you go, and the sheets peel off and trash when you're done with them. So I really like those, but if you're hardcore stamping, it's always nice to have a roller. It's handy. It's right there. It cleans your stampers and away you go. And it's just a lint roller inside of there. Your typical one from any dollar store. You're going to need a scraper for scraping your plate, some kind of a stamper. In this case, we're using these resizing ones. So yeah, that's the basics. There's not much to it. Plates can be picked up anywhere for cheap or expensive, depending on what you want to go with. But that's the basics. So what I'm going to do, just test out our images on some cardstock, just so we get to see what they look like when we're changing up our images. So neither the clear jelly stamper nor the unbranded one had any sort of instructions for them, although I'm sure you can go online and find them. The Moyra, however, does have directions right on the packaging. So I am going to assume that they essentially work the same way. So the instructions on this are, and we'll start with the Moyra, to reduce the size of the design, carefully twist the bottom of the stamper to make the silicone head more arched. So you can see there is, I think, the resting position. Then you turn it and it pushes that centerpiece up and you can see the stamper. There it is going down. And here's the stamper going up. Higher, higher, higher bubble. Once you've got the silicone head arched, pick up a design, then in one quick motion, remove the clear part. Oh, okay, there it comes off. Stamp the design onto the nail. So what we're doing is making the head bigger. When we pick up the design, it goes and shrinks it smaller. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the Moyra. Okay, so this will be normal. Okay, I did not have a very good pickup at all. Yeah, this head feels quite firm. Let's try again. Okay. That one had a perfect pickup. So this is standard size, and the Moyra will go right here. And there we go. So next, we're going to go, I don't know, is it bigger or smaller? We'll see. So we're going to extend the head so that it's really high arch. So it didn't pick up perfectly. I'll try that again. Stamping truly is trial and error, guys. Once you got the hang of it, it is fabulous, especially if you're like me and you really suck when it comes to hand drawing. All right, there we got a nice, perfect pickup on that one. Okay, so now that we have it like this, we've got to be quick so it doesn't dry, and we're supposed to take it off. Oh, look at it shrink. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, wow, that's a real difference. Look at that. I'm wondering now if that'll fit on my little pinky finger that I'm hoping it will fit on. Yeah, just might. Okay, so we've got our regular and our little mini guy. Next, we are going for the big one. Now this, it looks like we start with our head regular position. Pick it up. And there's our image. Lovely, lovely. And now we're going to arch it. So we're going to twist, 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 and make it all big and arched like that. And that really grew our design out. Now, here's the issue. We can't see through this. So, and we have to leave it on to be able to keep that big arch. So I'm going to hope for the best in my placement here, which is really difficult. That was really pathetic. Okay, let's try that again. And I took too long. You can see it's all hanging around here. It didn't come off. Okay, we'll try this again. I changed things up a little here so that I had some more space since I can't see what I'm doing because of the black base. So here we got our tiny guy. We got our standard one. And I'm going to go in and try to do this enlarged one. So we start with the regular head, pick up our image, got it, and as quick as we can, we arch that baby so it's nice and big and it grew. And then we try and figure out our placement and get it down before it dries. Yay! For the most part. So this is with the Moyra. It picked up really, really nice, even though it seems to be a little bit firmer of a head for me. I got really good transfer. I can see here that it missed a little tiny bit of the top here. That's okay. I'd be more careful if I was doing it on a set. And I got a little bit of a wiggle going on in my lines here. Again, not such a big deal, but this is brand new stamper to me. So this is just testing it out. And I got to say, I'm really happy with that right off the bat. Like, that's a really nice difference to be able to work with different size nails so that the image doesn't look overly large on the smaller your nail gets kind of thing, or it doesn't look all dwarfed if you're doing it on a thumbnail. So the next one I'll try is going to be the clear jelly stamper. We're going to start with the baby one. So we arch the head. This one doesn't seem to get quite as arched as the Moyra looking at it. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the Moyra really has a nice big huge bubble on it. The clear jelly stamper, not nearly so much. Did I go far enough? Yep, I've tightened it as far as it'll go. So I don't know if that makes a huge difference or not. We're about to see. It may make no difference at all. Okay, my head is arched and pick up, remove, and yay, a drink. Now our head's in the neutral position. Nice clean pickup. Just doing standard on this one so I can take it off. And there's our standard size pickup. We got it, and now we grow it. That's what we do. We grow it, so we twist it up. And again, I don't get to see through it, but at least with this one, it's clear, so kind of maybe gives you a better idea. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Nah, I took too long. Gotta be fast with this one, gotta be fast. Please ignore the yard work being done outside. It is springtime, and it would seem I can't avoid that. Every time I turn around and I'm trying to film somebody doing something with their yard. Okay, try it again. So, grow it big, and we gotta get it down quick. All right, so I got it down quick. It came out nice and straight. Well, straight with the lines, not straight on my paper, because of course I can't see where I'm putting it. But it looks just like the Moyra one. So the Moyra head, it's much more firm. Clear jelly is much softer, if you like that feel. So here we've got the unbranded one and the clear jelly stamper. So it looks identical, like absolutely identical. The stamper feels a little less firm, a little more jelly-like than the clear jelly, but it's that very, very soft, softer than the Moyra for sure. So we're going to start this one testing with the small one. Ooh, we got a bust out here. And then remove the head. Nice. I missed a little bit of the edge there, but you still get the idea. Picked up and went down really nice, except for user error. Lastly, the tough one where we don't get to see. So unfortunately, the same as for all of them. You can't see when you make it bigger. That's a bummer, because it'd be nice to be able to see your placement. So keep going on the edge, which isn't ideal, but that's okay. So here it is, and we're stretching it out, and we got to be quick. We can't see what we're doing, so we just got to guess. I hate that. And there we are. Now, what can I say? I did find them all equally easy to use. What I did notice is that on both the clear jelly stamper and the unbranded one, this twisting feature isn't as smooth as it is using the Moyra. This one just seems to glide better. These ones get a little more, they're snug, but they might loosen up as you use them. So that might just be a case of having them used a little bit so that the twisting actions gets a little smoother. I would say they're all the same. And as far as not being able to see through the black, I don't know that it matters, the difference. This one, yeah, it's clear. So you can see a tiny little bit, like I was able to see a bit of the top line and the bottom line. But as you can see, when I'm placing it, it still doesn't help enough to make me be able to place it exactly where I need to, because you just can't see it very well. So it takes a little of the guesswork out with the clearer one, because you can see something somewhere. But still, you're kind of going blind when you're going bigger. But I really, really like that I have different sizes to work with. And we're going to test it out and see how it ends up looking on actual nails. Because as much as I can get them to stamp on a flat surface, on a piece of paper, it'll be interesting to see how they lay out when they go onto nails. So here I have the nails I'm going to work with. They've been painted and matte coat over them. I'm going to start this one with the clear jelly stamper. So this one I'm doing just plain for my middle finger. Got a bit of a wiggle in my line, but other than that, pretty decent. So for the pinky, I'm going here and I want to shrink it so that it will hopefully fit. Then take it off and it shrinks. And that worked nice and tiny. I'm quite happy with that. Now it's going to be the tough one. And make it grow and blindly put it here like this. Wow, that wasn't that bad. I'm quite impressed. I got a bit of a wiggly down here, but other than that, I kind of managed to get it where I wanted it. So that was with clear jelly stamper. Now I'm going to do the other hand using the AliExpress one. There we go. Landed quite nicely. Now for our pinky, I've expanded. Remove it, and that shrinks it right up. Nice. For our thumb, we make sure we're in the stand position and we grow that baby. So I don't like the way the image turned out on here. So I just grabbed some alcohol on a wipe and rub it off. So I've switched up to my sticky stamping polish simply because it takes longer to dry. So it'll give me a little more time to do what I got to do. That one's a little better. I decided to use the Moyra head to do a different design with sunflowers instead. And then shrink it. And let's see how it looks on here. Look at that. That is nice. All right. That turned out quite all right too. So yes, this is a much firmer head. You have to have a firmer pickup. The clear jelly stamper type is a softer head and you have a lighter touch when you're picking up with that. But all in all, they work. They work fabulous. And I really like that I can change the size of what I need, especially when it comes to pinkies. It's really hard to make sure that you can get matching stamps to use on a pinky because they're usually too big. It's just the way it goes. On a plate like this, you can see that they've gone and added little tiny designs that you can use for your pinkies, which is great, but it limits you from wanting to do something like this where you have the same design repeating in different ways and different sizes. So, yeah. So there's the stamping part. I'm going to turn around if you want to stick around, and I'm going to try and do some watercolor with these. So I've really only ever used watercolors for doing things like crystal and quartz designs and such. So I don't really have a lot of experience with it for just accents on nails like this. These are the watercolors I have. I've got a metallic set that I got from the lovely Dime Nails. A couple of sets in there. And I've got these watercolor brush pens that I got off of Amazon and I have never ever tried, so you'll have to bear with me. And so I've filled a couple little dishes with water. One for metallic, one for not. And I've got my Dime Nails watercolor brush. Came with the set when I bought it. This is really kind of cool. So I went into here looking to see if there's like directions or anything, because again, I've never used these pens before. And I found this really cool book inside of it. It's a tutorial pad, and the very first page has a design. And then there's a couple of blank pages. But what gets interesting is that a few pages in, it's got, if you can see it, very lightly sketched images for you to practice. And again, practice the same image. And then there's different images. Here's a pear. So yeah, that's really cool. You can see it on the back. There's a flower, a bug, a pear, and a jellyfish. And there's tutorials online, I guess, that you can try out. So I might actually check this because I've really been wanting to learn how to do really cool watercolor flowers. They look like they're so light and delicate and pretty, and they look like they're fairly easy to do if you know what you're doing. Now I'm going to see what I can do with these ones. So I start out here just by laying down my watercolor paint and then go in with a brush and take away some of that water, which takes away some of the vibrancy. And you let it dry for just a little bit, kind of smooth out your edges there, and then add in more colors. So I've grabbed here a beautiful like white gold color along with a metallic pinky red. And I'm just trying to put in some highlights that will get picked up by the sunlight. When the nail shifts, it'll pick up that metallic glint on it. So you basically just keep layering it on and just keep taking it off until you get kind of the colors and the looks that you like, and it softens out the edges. It gives it that nice delicate watercolor look. In this one, I picked up all 3 nails at one point and was just kind of like working on them all together. It worked really easy for doing that because you're constantly going back and forth, adding the color, letting it dry for a minute. So I'm going in with my Marble Queen Diamond Nails sealing gel to protect that watercolor layer and hopefully not run. And you want to float that, try not to rub too hard. And here's the finished product of my little ladybugs. They turned out almost exactly as I pictured them. I'm really quite happy. And it's a really simple process. You just got to play with it for the watercolor. So lastly was finishing off the rest of the nails for the set. I grabbed this Holy number 38 and Madame Glam's MI Clear as a little bit of a topper. The gold really matches nicely with that metallic glint that was in the watercolor. So I'm going to go in with just a very light single layer of this Holy on my nails. And I made sure it was just a single light layer because when I checked it with a double layer, the color got a little bit too bold. I wanted to keep it very subtle. I've got all the nails done that way, and I'm going to go over with, again, a very thin coat of this MI Clear, just so it's not too heavy on the glitter, and we just get that little hint, well, a little more than a hint, but as opposed to a thick glitter, the idea is just more of a hint of glitter on top of the set. So there you have it. This is how they've turned out. I am really very happy with that. It's pretty much exactly what I was envisioning. So they turned out just as I'd hoped. I really like how subtle they are. That gold iridescent glitter from the MI Clear Madame Glam really highlights nicely the metallic watercolor that I put into the stamps. I really appreciate you guys being here to watch my videos. And of course, if you want to help support my channel, just do some shopping. Check out the description box below for any coupon codes or affiliate links that might save both you and I some money. And that's a wrap, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out these resizing stampers with me. I gotta say, personally, my favorite was probably the Moyra, but really, there wasn't much difference between any of them. As always, until next time, don't forget to love your nails. Bye!